Friday on Draftstars shows us two matchups: Warriors v the Bulldogs, Eels v the Rabbitohs here. And to kick it off in our outside backs, we have a few high-level options, Latrell Mitchell being one of them. We're coming off a real superstar game. My worry with this game here is I don't see the outside backs absolutely killing it. So Latrell's probably the one with the biggest opportunity to do that, especially on the Rabbitohs side. I'm not really liking all the other options. I think Johnson's a little bit too expensive. So I'm probably going to be looking a little bit more towards the Eels guys in that one. So Will Penasini, I think, is a good shout this week. He's coming off three back-to-back good scores after really only having three low scores the entire season. So I think Penasini is a good one at that 12,420 price, and Clint Gutherson coming off a couple of good games as well. I think he could come out and have a nice one there. So that's what I would like to say to do with that game. And then if you're just isolating the Warriors v the Dogs there's the top guy is Adokar at 14.8. So I think Karaz or Adokar, one of them could fill up your squad. Karaz had a bit of a low one last week. Adokar has been fairly consistent, but obviously he had a lower one as well. So 27 to go along with his 30 plus scores around that. So both of them are not, superstar picks at this point. You got Braden Burns as well, who could be a decent one, but had a low one last week, and same with Shop. So any of those guys could come out and have a big one against the Warriors there. If you'd like to play any of those ones, I think that's always pretty solid. Costy's been really solid since he's come back into the side. So 3 great scores, 35 plus. And I think he could be one at that cheaper price that could work out okay for you. If he went anywhere else, I wouldn't be looking too much lower. You got Jackson Paulo there, who has been up and down. He's had a few good scores, but back a while ago. Hasn't really been great since, but is back in the centres. And you got Isaac Thompson as well at that 10,000 mark, who played his first game last week, but it was in a game where they put on 48 points and he picked up a try. So don't expect the same again this week, but you could also always pick him there. All right, top guys. Burton, we have Jeremy Marshall-King in that game as two of your top guys, and Dejan Arce I'd be looking at. Johnson could come out and do okay, but the last 2 weeks he has not, so I'm not going to bank that he does that against the Dogs. Dejan Arce's been fairly solid in that one at 13,600, and has a low score of 26.8, but has been 33 plus for the other 4 games. So I'd be looking at probably going for Burton as much as you can, anywhere above that 60 odd, and you'll be happy with his scoring at that price point. Jeremy Marshall-King is up over 20k now and is fairly expensive for the output that he provides. If we're looking at the Para v the South game, I like Dylan Brown a lot. He's going to be stepping up and controlling things for the Eels in this day and age with Moses being out. And you've got Jake Arthur as well, who's a good show at 10,600 there, coming off of 49. Obviously included a couple of try assists, but he had close to 500 kick meters last week. So Brownie had a bunch. I don't imagine they're both going to be that high, but I still think that he's going to be a good pickup for you. If you're looking at Lockie Ilias, I'm a little bit worried just him playing against Para and it being a closer game that he won't be able to hit the heights of this 40 plus, but still has an opportunity to hit somewhere around that 37, I would say, with a little bit of upside, which he's shown the last few weeks. So if you want to, he's 12k. Kyle Flanagan has been fairly solid as well, 33.6, his lowest in the last 2. But out of the last 4, he has that as his second lowest, which is pretty solid there. And if you can get anywhere near that 58 of last week, then he's going to be a great pickup. And we move to the forwards. Cam Murray, obviously the clear top pick, along with Isaiah Papali'i. Both those guys have been superstars in their own right. I feel like you can only select one, so I would be going with Murray. I think he'll play close to the 80 minutes in this one, just to make sure they get a good win against some rivals in the Eels who are in a similar spot to them on the table. But in that game as well, you have Sean Lane, who's been absolutely dominant. And I would probably pick Sean Lane over all 3 of those guys. He would be my main pick. So, in saying that, there's really not too many others you'd be looking at picking. Madison's dropped down a bit, but he hasn't been scoring well enough. You got Campbell Gillard, who's been averaging 43 and super consistent over the last 7-8 weeks. So he's someone, if you want it at that 13,000, could be a great one. And then that would be all on that side of the ball. So really, there's a bit to do, and you're probably going to have to select a couple of expensive guys in the Eels pack there. All right, if we're looking at someone who I think has a little bit more value, and that would be Jackson Torpenny, who at 13,500 had a bit of a light one last week, but I think he can bounce back a bit and potentially pick up a meat pie. Just check out pre-game there if Raymond Fatala-Mariner moves to the bench, to the edge, or where he plays, if he stays in the middle or not. But if he does get that edge role, I would be selecting Raymond over Torpenny. I think Torpenny, you can almost pick both of them. I'd probably prefer him in the middle, to be honest, and then I do Raymond. So if they switch, I'd be probably on both of them in that one. Josh Curran came in with a big game last week, so he's sneaky at 15,007 as well. Jai Arrow has also been good, averaging 48 over his last 3. There's plenty of decent options. You've seen, Totola come out and do really well, but he's a bit too expensive. Similar to that, I think Aiken's a bit too expensive, but you have a crack at Kolomatangi at the slightly cheaper price. So definitely a million guys you could select in these in this forward ranks. And unfortunately, not a lot you can pick down below. You've got Hame Sele, who's getting the start this week, but Harrison Edwards coming off a good game, 41.6 2 weeks ago. So there's a few options at the cheaper price, but none of them really stand out as being incredible options. Yeah, David Miley, who had a good game a decent game last week, but still only 24 points. So again, do you want to be picking up these guys? Probably not. So there you go, guys. That's the Friday video. We have, definitely some interesting selections in that one. Going to be 2 fun games to watch. I think both will be pretty close. So hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Hit that link in the description below to sign up and join up with Draftstars and get cranking in those 2 Friday night matchups. You can play this one individually here, with both games involved, or you can play the individual matchups as you see them in the lobby there. So hope you enjoyed that one, guys. We'll catch you in that next video. See you later.